Hello, fight fans, and welcome to the Combat Challenge podcast. My guest is Matthew the Beast Bonner, who is a middleweight athlete who trains out of Next Generation MMA Liverpool and competes on the prestigious Cagewarriors promotion. Matt, thank you so much for joining us again, my brother.
Pleasure, mate. Happy to be back on again.
Well, you did promise that you were going to come on, so you've kept your end of the deal, man, and I'm grateful for that, my friend. I really am. Now, last time we spoke, my brother, you'd just come off a win, an impressive win over James Webb on Cagewarriors 121, which took place in March this year. Today, Cagewarriors has put out a statement, and I'm pleased that you've come on board to share with us the news. So if you can share with us what the statement is, my brother.
Yeah, sure. So they announced today that I'm going to be the main event on the Thursday, the next trilogy. I'm going to be fighting Frederick for the Cagewarriors World title, which is...
Last time we spoke, brother, you were saying, you know, after you'd finished with James Webb, you were saying you want to be knocking on that door, you want the title, you didn't know if it was going to happen or not. So that's it, it's on, and it's going to happen in June, right?
That's it. It's been made official, yeah. So obviously I'm made up with. I think I said after the James Webb fight, I didn't really see where else there was to go by fighting Frederick for the world title. Obviously James Webb was a world champion before that. So I'm pleased Cagewarriors have kind of had the same idea as me, and the fight's been signed and sealed now, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, like you said, brother, on one of the statements you'd put out that, you know, you've kind of paid your dues, you've gone a long way around, but you're here now, aren't you, brother?
Sure. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm the first one to say that I've made quite a lot of mistakes in my career in terms of, like you mentioned before when I came on last time, maybe not taking the right fights at the right time, and certainly not fighting out the right gym. The main thing for me kind of doing so well recently has been moving to Next Gen with Paul Rimmer, and I know Paul's been on your show as well. You respect him as a coach, and same for myself. He's done an awful lot for my career, and yeah, it's made a massive turnaround because of Next Gen, and I'm just happy that it's all going around the right way for me, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure, brother. But you've put in the grind as well. You know, you paid your dues. Yeah. Now, Nathias, I was just checking on, doing some research on him. He's on I think it's a 9-fight winning streak. And out of them, 8 of his fights have been either by way of KO or TKO. So I think he favors the hands. Just what's in public domain, what do you know about Frederick?
Yeah, what you said was spot on there, really. You know, he's very powerful, he's strong. He does get a lot of finishes because he commits to his shots. There's for me, I'm similar to yourself. I've obviously done a lot of kind of research into Frederick over the last, you're probably talking about at least 6 to 8 weeks. I've been watching him and breaking down his fights, and I can see a lot of gaps in there. I think he's very aggressive, and that can be very challenging to deal with. But it kind of makes him almost predictable in a way as well. Frederick's coming one way, and that's forward, which can play into my hands nicely. So yeah, he's dangerous, and I've never been stopped before, never been knocked out, never been dropped, never been finished. But he could certainly be the first one to do it if he lands the right shot at the right time. So there's a lot to be wary of, but there's also a lot that I can work on and exploit at the same time.
It's like with anything, brother. You know, the higher the risk, the higher the reward is, right?
Well, that's right, and I say this to an awful lot of people. I mean, James Webb wasn't much of a puncher, but he's still wearing 4-ounce gloves. So if anyone connects, especially in the middleweights, we're bigger lads in the middleweights. If anyone connects, that can be a knockout shot. It can land on your jaw, it can land, on the kind of the temple area, and they can all do damage. They don't need to be big hitters in this game to put you down. So that does. It's not really something I'm massively afraid of. Is his power. Because I'm hoping I'm going to be bringing in quite a bit of power this time as well. I'm working an awful lot on my boxing and my stand-up game as well as everything else. So yeah, there's nothing that particularly kind of really worries me about Frederick. But there's certainly things that I need to be cautious about.
Yeah, for sure, brother. Now, Nathias, I couldn't find out, but how many times has he defended the title, brother? Do you know?
So Richardson was his first defence. He was supposed to fight Richardson last September. And then one of Frederick's camp had COVID, so that was called off, and then it was delayed to December. And then he defended it in December against Jamie Richardson, won that fight, and yeah, I'd be his second defence.
So am I right in thinking, was James Webb the title holder and Nathias took it off James Webb?
That's right. This is where it gets kind of a little bit complicated because Frederick fought James Webb twice. So the first time, Frederick was deducted a point in one of the fights and they drew. They fought to a draw. And then he fought again a second time. And that's when Frederick he stopped Webb in the fourth round at the end of the fourth. And that's when he officially won the belt.
Well, it kind of shows statistically how you'd be next in line because James Webb's got the title. He fought against Nathaniel, lost there. Nathias, sorry. He's fought you. You beat him convincingly. Did you beat him in round 2?
I beat him right at the end of round 2. That's right.
Yeah, so you beat him in round 2. So it kind of makes sense. It's natural for you to slot in and you're comfortable in going for this title shot, right?
Yeah, sure. That's what I think I've kind of got working in my favour almost because, like I said, James fought Nathias twice. So the first fight went 5 rounds, and then the second fight went 4 rounds. And Frederick stopped him at the end of the fourth. So altogether, that's 9 rounds that Frederick's had with James Webb, where I beat James Webb in 2 rounds. So I'm not really going in there worried too much because I obviously did more damage to James Webb than Frederick managed to do in a quicker amount of time.
And is it on the 24th of June? And how many weeks is that from here, brother?
I think yeah, you're right. The 24th of June. I think it's 7 weeks this Thursday. Because obviously it's the trilogy again. So this fight's on the Thursday, and then obviously there's 2 consecutive events on the Friday, Saturday as well. But we're the main event on the Thursday.
Well, brother, yours is going to be on the Thursday, and on the Friday you're coming back on the podcast, aren't you, my brother?
100%.
Now, with Nathias, apart from having these 7 or 8 weeks, is that sufficient for you in preparation for Nathias? Have you been keeping busy from your fight with James Webb to where you are now?
Yeah, sure. Always. I'm not kind of a big believer in. We talk about fight camps and things, but I'm not a believer in this kind of do your 8-week fight camp fight and then disappear until the next one. I think after the James Webb fight, I had a week off. Obviously, I mean, I didn't really get much damage in the James Webb fight, but you do get bruises and whatnot, and a little bit of certainly your hands can get a bit battered and bruised. So I think I had a week off, and I was back in the gym the following week, and I have been since. I still very much enjoy training, and it's kind of I don't really know what to do these days if I'm not training. It's one of those things where you do wonder what not. I say normal people. What do normal people do with the time? Sat home watching Coronation Street, and that's certainly not for me. I'd rather be in a gym and training and getting better and working towards something.
And Matt, are you in a fortunate position where you can invest full time in training, or do you still have to work as well?
I do work, but it's kind of been very much stripped back. Even for the James Webb fight, it's very much stripped back. So generally, I'll train in the mornings for 2 hours. I'll come back home, have some lunch, recover a little bit, train again. Maybe an hour and a half, and then I'll kind of work a couple of hours, maybe 2 to 3 hours, and that'll be me. So generally, weekdays is kind of 2 to 3 hours. Then weekends I'll do 5 to 6 hours on the Saturday and the Sunday. So I'd imagine I kind of work 20-hour weeks, which isn't too bad. And my job is PTing, padding people and teaching them kind of wrestling and MMA in general. So it's a job that I kind of tend to enjoy as well. So. I'm pretty lucky in that respect, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, what the job was, brother. And you are fortunate because you're kind of around sport, you're around MMA. So subconsciously, it's there, it's in your mind. And even by holding the pads, brother, you're still moving, aren't you, right?
That's right. I mean, I think the saying isn't it? You can't out-train a bad diet, but I can kind of eat whatever the hell I want for the most part because I'm burning calories off 24 hours a day. If I'm not training, then I'm holding pads or I'm rolling with people, or I'm wrestling or drilling and whatnot. And I've always kind of thought about putting a heart rate monitor on one day and kind of seeing how much calories you do burn in a normal working day, because it must be kind of 4 to 5,000 calories, to be honest. You don't stop moving. And again, that's another good part of the job is I don't think I could be one for sitting in an office chair all day. I do enjoy being on my feet and coaching and enjoying coaching people.
The thing is, Matt, it sounds like you really enjoy the job that you're doing. You enjoy, the training, the competing. You're not taking it for granted, and you just want to continue doing what you enjoy, don't you, brother?
I think that was kind of like a little breakthrough that I had about a year ago, last March, because I had quite a bad fight against Jamie Richardson. I was bummed out and sulky about that. The kind of thing, you've got to be grateful, really, especially now. Cagewarriors were one of the only shows that would still be able to function around the COVID. Grateful to be able to train and fight and do something that I enjoy doing. Something I've done for pretty much nigh on 15 years, probably, if you add up all the time I've done it for. So, yeah, kind of gone are the days now where I'm going to beat myself up and put pressure on myself. And I just want to enjoy the whole thing. And if you lose, you lose. And if you win, hopefully you'll take the next step and you'll crack on and celebrate. But yeah, I just want to enjoy my life, and the stress and the pressure doesn't do a damn thing but stop you from accomplishing stuff that you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really cool mindset to have. I did a podcast with a lad called Aaron Khalid. I did it with him today. He competes on Cagewarriors as well.
That's right.
And he was saying that you can learn from both, doing really well and winning fights, but also you can learn from those that you have some sort of adversity. And he said when he fought against Lahore, Lahore caught him in this kind of modified guillotine choke, which he now catches other people with just by learning from him being caught. So there's always that learning, isn't there, brother?
Oh, sure. That's what I've got quite a lot of losses. I'm 9-6, so it's not the cleanest record by any means. And like I said, I've kind of turned it around. Certainly last year and the start of this year, but that's the kind of what I'll say to guys who lose. But what you can't do when you lose is kind of sulk and then go back in the cage the next time the exact same. If the silver lining of losing is that you've realised that there's a gap somewhere now, there's a weakness. It's your job after a loss to kind of tidy that up. For instance, you get caught in an armbar. Well, you got to go back to the gym and learn how to defend an armbar and drill. It's no good kind of not learning from that and then going back and getting caught by an armbar in the next fight. So I agree with what Khalid said. There is a lot to be learned from losses, and you can grow from losses a lot more than you can grow from a win. That's for sure.
Well, you mentioned your record there. Did you say it was 9-6, brother?
9-6-1.
Now, out of that, am I right in thinking your last 6 fights, you've only had one loss in the last 6 fights? Is that right?
That's right. I think the one loss was Jamie Richardson. Yeah.
So you, like you said, you learn from them and you just keep grinding and keep working, and you're on a good kind of track now, and hopefully that'll keep going for you, my brother.
A lot of my losses came at the start of my career when I was kind of naive, I suppose, and didn't really have any guidance and things. And then, kind of like I mentioned at the start, I got with Next Gen. I think I've fought 6 times out of Next Gen and won 5. So it's not something I really regret, to be honest. Like I say, I learned from these losses, and when you aren't getting coached properly, or you're a bit naive, you appreciate it a lot more when you do come into contact with really good coaches. So it's not. I prefer my record to be a little bit cleaner, but it's quite a nice story, I think, to come from. I lost my first 2 pro fights. To go from that to hopefully winning a world title. I don't know about inspiring other people, but it might be nice for other people who haven't had the best start to say, well, Matt Bonner did it, so why can't I? Why can't I do it as well?
For sure, brother. And you talk about Next Generation, and I've had a couple of your training partners and athletes from Next Generation MMA Liverpool on the podcast. I've had the head coach, Paul Rimmer, and the kind of ethos and mindset that he has. You can see it kind of resonates with the athletes there. And that's so cool, right, to have that sort of head coach. And for me, it's so awesome because for him to come on the podcast, with all due respect to me, I've got the biggest podcast on the web, but he took time, and I really appreciate that. And it just shows that with him and how he is, right?
Oh, sure. Definitely. And that goes for all the other coaches at Next Gen as well. I mean, Paul Rimmer's the head coach, and he's the one who's got years and decades of experience. But there's a great team there. You've got Ellis Hampson as well, who's kind of like second in command. And then there's other coaches there, Cy Ardley, and then there's other people who come in like Nathan Brough, my boxing coach, and things. So there is a really good strong team there, and you can see that from the guys. You've got 3 UFC fighters out there now. Paddy's been signed, and then you've had 3 Cagewarriors World Champions as well. So it speaks for itself. When a gym's successful, it's generally not because by luck. It's because they've got the right people and they're training them the right way.
Yeah, for sure, brother. And I remember a little snippet what Paul was on about, and he was saying that he really wants to focus on the foundation and getting that right before you move on to something else, because that's the breeze blocks. And once you get the foundation right, everything else will be cool, right?
100%. I think you see that with me, and you see it with Liam Gittins as well, another next gen guy he'll be fighting on Cagewarriors. I think he's fighting the day after me. I think, and this isn't saying the coaches beforehand weren't good coaches by any means, but they certainly felt like there was some kind of fundamentals that were missing. That 10 fights into your professional career, you should know. You should know certain things. And I always said to my missus, I said, it's like you spent 50 hours playing a video game, but you've missed some parts of the tutorial, if you know what I mean. The learning part, the start. It's like I should know these things and I don't. But then when you do start learning these things, it makes a massive difference to your game. And like I say, I've shown that myself now with the previous fights. It looks like I'm a completely different fighter. I'm way more confident. I'm good everywhere. I can wrestle. My jiu-jitsu getting much better. My striking's a lot more confident with my striking. So hopefully everybody can see the difference since I've gone next gen, and all the coaches are happy and I'm getting the results. So I'm very pleased to be there.
Well, hopefully we'll all see the difference on the 24th of June on Cagewarriors 123 when you take on Nathias Fredrick for the middleweight belt. Matt, thank you so much for joining us, and make sure you join us on that Friday, my brother, because I look forward to speaking to you again, my brother.
If I'm not smashed up, I've got my face smashed up and my jaw broken, I'll we'll get together and do another one.
Take care, my brother. Speak to you soon.